Hey, Fear Minimalist, it's Sophia Lark of thefearminimalist.com, and I help women of color break the fear-based emotional cycle that keeps them stuck in mother wound trauma. So whether you have recently put some distance between you and your mom, or maybe you have attempted to put some distance between you and your mom, maybe you're currently living with your mother, or you might be somewhere in between. But the thing is you still feel like your mother is running your life. And if that's the case for you, I'm going to share 3 warning signs that your mom is actually running your life and what you can do to reclaim your sense of identity and personal power. So make sure you keep watching. If you're joining me for the first time today, thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it. And if this content resonates with you, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you'll be updated each time I upload a new video. The first sign that your mom is running your life is that she insists on knowing everything about your life. It could be your social life, your intimate life. And this really can signal enmeshment. And I'll talk just a little bit more about that in a minute. But you have some choices here. You know, one of the things that I teach women in my practice when I see that they have trouble setting boundaries is how to cultivate skills that promote a sense of agency. Agency helps you to choose what it is that I deem appropriate to tell somebody else. What do I want to share with them that it's okay? And then what do I want to hold close to the vest? Your mom doesn't automatically have a right to know that information. With agency, you can share certain aspects of what it is that she wants to know if you deem it appropriate. So if you think it's appropriate for her to know who your friends are, who you're dating, you can tell her what you want to tell her about it. I'm dating this person. This is their name. You know, we've been dating for however long. And that's it. That way, your mom can feel included in your life, but she is not running your life. She's not saying, oh, I need to know. I need to know who he is, who she is, you know, what you guys are doing, where you always go, you know, because who knows, you know, you might get in trouble one of these days. I understand safety, but at the same time, you're an adult. You are now responsible for your safety, not your mother. Choose what it is that you want to tell her, and then the rest of it, you hold back for yourself. Because essentially it's none of her business, right? But this can take work. I'm not saying that this is an easy thing to resolve. So when you are creating these skills that cultivate a sense of agency, I don't want you to get hung up on, you know, things like it's not working or I'm trying everything and I just feel inadequate to set appropriate boundaries. When you are dismantling one system of functioning and reacting to a particular relational dynamic, you're going to have those ups and downs. That's normal. And you are putting new ways of responding to demands, like your mom insisting to know everything about your business. You're putting new responses and reactions in place, and that can take time. So I want you to be gentle with yourself and know that as you continue to work on these things over time, you're going to start to see those little changes all coming together to create this one big change that you have been desiring. And then it will give you the fuel to change other areas in your life. The second sign that your mom is running your life is that she overwhelms you with her needs and demands, and she expects you to meet them. Now, whenever a woman in my practice is telling me about her mother and she says, you know, the thing that really drains me the most, that I don't know what I'm going to do. I just feel like I'm at the end of my ropes here and I'm just going to collapse because she just constantly expects me to be there for her emotionally. As she's going off on these tirades and crying one minute, laughing the next. And when I get to the point of telling her, you know, I've had enough. I can't just sit here all the time. Then she starts guilt tripping me. Or you can just abandon your mom while I'm in my deepest whatever. One of the biggest red flags that raises for me is a sign of family enmeshment. I'm like, oh, this family's enmeshed. She don't want you to go nowhere. She wants you to live nearby her. She wants you to do this kind of work. Don't want you asking for outside help. The family can meet your needs. What do you need a therapist for? The therapist is nosy. They're always in your business. What can they tell you that I haven't already told you? You know, things like that. I'm like, that's a big red flag that the family is so fused together with these unhealthy emotions and beliefs and behaviors. And this is often, enmeshment is often passed down through the generations. It often stems from unresolved trauma. It's not always the case, but most of the times, in most of the cases that I've seen, enmeshment stems from unresolved trauma. And so the goal here is to recognize first the signs of enmeshment, and then to start working on setting and following through with solid and consistent boundaries. Now, I know that can be difficult, especially for enmeshed families. This is going to take maybe years of work for you to get to a point where you're even comfortable with this. And especially, it becomes more difficult if you're living with your mother and if you are financially dependent on her. And I do have some women in my practice who are financially dependent on their parents. One of the ways that I help people start working through this, because, you know, you didn't get in this situation overnight, you're not going to get out of it overnight. So one of the things that we can start doing is working on what I call the work, budget, move strategy, where you're building slowly but surely a sense of stability and security in your ability to be responsible for your own life, to develop your own sense of identity outside of the family. So if you can get a job, or if you have a job, maybe it's a part-time job, but that works, because that's part of the work, is that you actually get work, you get a job, and then we start working on some other things while we're doing that. So even if you can just save $10 a month, that's a start. And then we start working on the mindset. And the reason I say that is because I particularly had one client. I hadn't received too much pushback on this strategy until I had this one client who said, what is saving $10 a month going to do? Like, I buy a hamburger with that every day. And I said, well, that depends. It depends on if you're asking this from a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Now, I won't go into the details, but we ended up working through that. And we found out that she was really coming from a fixed mindset. Well, $10 isn't going to get me very far. You know, it's almost comical for me to save $10 when I spend more of that on things that I, you know, my hygiene products or whatever. And so the idea was that the $10 a month wasn't going to change. It wasn't going to change in amount, and it wasn't going to change the situation. And so once she started to understand that she was in the fixed mindset, we began working on how do we make this a growth mindset? Because initially in the beginning, whether you're in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, $10 a month is still $10 a month. But if I'm thinking in terms of this money is only going to be $10 a month, I'm probably going to spend it every month, so I'm going to end right back at zero. Whereas in the growth mindset, you're saying $10 a month not only stays secure in a savings account or whatever, but next month it could be $50 a month. It could be $100 a month. What if I get a bonus at work? It also helps you to build agency. You're becoming a more independent person because you're starting to realize I can do things to impact change. It may not be that I can really see the big change until two years from now. But if $10 becomes $50 and $50 becomes $100, right? Then I can see myself moving closer toward my goal. So agency not only allows you to see the light at the end of the tunnel, it allows you to see the opening to be able to leave and to live independently. The third and final sign that your mom is running your life is that she consistently violates your boundaries. Even if you try to set limits with her, the cycle just continues. She continues to treat you like a child and demand that you give in to her needs. And this can lead to feelings of helplessness. You can feel violated or even start doubting your ability to put boundaries in place to stand up for yourself. Because, if my mom doesn't respect my boundaries, then what makes me think other people will? But here's the thing I want you to remember about boundaries is that boundaries are not just about you setting a limit with another person. It's also about you holding yourself accountable for following through with the limit that you set. So if you set the boundary, I'm not going to have these kinds of conversations, and your mom continues to demand that you do, whatever the limit is that you set, if she violates that boundary, follow through with it. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy. I had one client who said, you always make it sound like it's so easy. And I'm just like, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that it is. You may have to work up to get into the point where you say, I'm going to remove myself from the situation. If you have a mom who really would take action, like maybe she kicks you out of the house or something, if you resist it. If you say, I'm not going to have this conversation, and she demands anyway, and then you remove yourself from the situation, and she says, you know what, get out of my house. You're not going to be disrespectful. And so she changes the narrative where it becomes disrespect, where it was really you were protecting yourself. If your mom is the one to hold that against you and to actually take action on it, you may find creative ways to resist, like saving $10 a month, right? Because the thing with saving money toward your independence is that she doesn't have to know that you're saving the money, and you don't have to tell her. Sometimes that's the approach. The more subtle approach is to just say, I'm just going to keep saving money. I'm not going to say anything. That doesn't mean that you're allowing her to violate you. It means that this is a really difficult situation that I'm in, and unless I have somewhere else to go, which if I did, I probably would, then I have to find more subtle ways to resist, to make a stand against her violating my boundaries. And it's constantly, I want to turn this $10 a month into $75 a month, $100 a month. This makes me even more motivated to get a bonus or to find a second job or to do whatever. But you essentially start to build these layers of resilience in your nervous system that helps you to mobilize even in the face of discomfort. So now you know 3 warning signs that your mother is running your life. And if you are struggling to break your dependence on your mother and you want to start creating a plan for how you can gain your own independence, be sure to download my free Work, Budget, and Move worksheet to help you start mapping out a strategy to take control of your life and live more independently. You can get the worksheet by clicking the link below. Also, I want to invite you to connect with me on social media. I'm at Instagram at Fear Minimalist, Twitter at Fear Minimalist, and Facebook at Fear Minimalist. Let me know if this content resonated with you, and hopefully we can have a more in-depth dialogue about healing complex trauma and the mother wound. Well, that will do it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. And if you liked this video, hit the like button below, share with your friends, drop a comment below to let me know what your biggest takeaway was today, and remember to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so that you will receive all of the latest updates when I upload new content every single week. And remember, the sun is going to rise and shine bright tomorrow. The question is, are you going to rise with it and allow your best self to shine? I hope you do, and I will see you next time. Bye.